All right, who's ready to go to the beach? I love the beach. Beach is a great place to catch snook. Most people fish it wrong though. I'm always amazed. They're out there with their 10, 11, 12 foot poles and casting those things out as far as they can cast it, 50 yards, however far they go. And they're casting right by all the delicious fish because they're right at your feet. You don't have to cast out that far. Very rarely do you ever have to cast out that far. And I'm going to show you the anatomy of a typical beach in Florida, especially the East Coast side. The West Coast side's a little different because they just don't have the wave action that you have on the east side. But I'm going to show you the difference, and it's really not that big of a deal. But you got to fish the beach too. It's a great thing. You don't need a kayak. You don't need waders. You don't need a flats boat. You don't need anything to fish the beach. You need a fishing pole, some lures, walk the beach. Very simple stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to fish the beach right now for snook. All right, so here's the anatomy of a typical East Coast beach, right? You're here, you're in the dirt, here's your beach sand. Right as soon as the water hits, there's a trough. There's a trough. It's just deeper. It might be 3 feet deep, this trough. And then it gets shallow again. And then as you go out, it gets a little bit deeper. Then you have another sandbar, and then you got the deep water on the other side. Now sometimes there might be multiple sandbars, but I don't want to get into that. This is your typical beach setup. Okay? So here's the ocean. Waves come in, they break on this sandbar, and then they come through here, all the white water and everything just like this. And this is very turbid and churned up a lot of times if there's waves. If there's not waves, obviously it's not. But that's the setup. You've seen how waves break. They come out from deep in the ocean, they hit this sandbar, they break, it's a wave, it comes in, then not much happening coming up here. Okay. And over here is on the outgoing tide how a rip current happens. It'll just be a channel in the sandbar, and rip currents are great places to fish. A lot of times the fish will congregate right by a rip current because it's sucking all the fish and other bait and everything right past them. Just like it'll suck you out, it's sucking all them out. So a lot of times you'll have some snook and other predators really right near where the rip current is because it's a good thing for them. And they can swim better than us, so they don't really care about drowning. Okay, but here's the mistake. This trough is literally at your feet. You could catch these snook with a cane pole if you were stealthy enough and they didn't see you. You really could. They are literally 3-4 feet from where you're standing when you're standing on the beach. And everyone casts out here. Like I was saying earlier, they get their big rods and they try to cast 50 yards out. I don't see any X's in here. There's a reason for that, because the snook are going to be in close. They're going to be feeding on croakers, which is one of their delicacies that they just love, which is a little fish that comes and eats the sand fleas and stuff. They're going to be feeding on whiting, which is another little fish that comes and eats the sand fleas and stuff that you'll see on the beach. So this trough is where you're going to find 90% of your snook. You do not have to cast out far. Occasionally there'll be one a little bit further. If there's a school of fish or something out here, they'll be out a little bit further. But 8-9 times out of 10, you want to fish this trough right here. So you're going to have a current. You're going to have a current going one way or the other. You know what you're going to do. You're going to cast up current and you're going to work your bait back down through this trough. Doesn't matter. You don't want to cast out here. You want to cast diagonally or even parallel if you can get it that way. But, you really want to do that. Let me show you the angles. All right, so now I put some current in here. The current's going this way, and like I've said it a million times, I'll keep saying it. You're going to cast up current and work it back. But see where my casts are? They're kind of diagonal. If I could do parallel, I would, but I'd have to be standing in the water to do that, and I'd scare the snook at my feet. So you're going to cast as close to parallel as you can and work it back through that trough or just outside that trough. That's how you're going to do it. You're going to cast it, work it back, cast it, work it back, cast it, work it back. Then you're going to move down the beach. Then you're going to be down here and you're going to repeat process. Then you're going to walk a little more, repeat process. You want to fish this trough and you want to fish it hard. And trough fishing for snook is basically a first thing in the morning deal. That's what's so great about it. You get up, you go, you knock it out, you walk the beach. You know, you're one of those snook walkers. I actually do one of my charters that I do. I call the Beach Walker Charter. And all I do is take people first thing in the morning. You just fish that first 3 hours or so, right from sun up, and just walk the beach catching stuff. Now, they're not always going for snook. You know, there might be mackerel out here, there might be tarpon out here, we might be shark fishing, there might be pompano, a lot of other stuff to catch. But when you're just targeting these snook, that's it. You make your 3, 4, 5 casts, you walk up the beach. You make 3, 4, 5 casts, you walk up the beach. 3, 4, 5 casts, walk up the beach. That's all you're doing. You're going to have a couple different lures there too, because you know, a lot of times there might be a mackerel or something toothy that breaks you off. So you need some extra ones. Even though there's no structure here, there's a lot of toothy creatures that are going to ruin your day when you want to catch snook, and all you keep doing is losing your lures to barracuda or mackerel or something, or bluefish, something with a real sharp teeth that are ruining your day. Great place to catch snook. And that's what's so great about it too. You don't have to fish all day. You get up, you're at the beach as soon as you can see the cast, and you start casting and you walk that beach, and there will be snook there, especially if there's some bait. If you're in a dead zone, you don't see any birds, you don't see any, and look for sand fleas too. You'll be able to see them on the beach too. You're just looking for life. If you don't see any life on that beach, there's no birds, you look in the water, you don't see any whiting or croakers or any little baby pompano coming up with each wave as the wave laps up. You don't see any of that kind of stuff. There's no bait, there's no birds, there's no nothing. Move on, find a better beach. If you see birds diving, it's not just going to be the jacks and the blues and ladyfish and all the other things out there. The snook will be in there too, because predators all know where that prey is and they're going to go for it. So you just got to remember that. All right, so I just put myself a little asterisk there for you to, next time you look at this video, if you need to look at it again, find life. Okay, so I don't want you to think that there's always going to be life at the beach, because there isn't. So you don't want to be fishing a dead spot. So you got to find life. You get out there and cast and do your things, but you're not really seeing any action after 15 minutes or so. You haven't seen any little fish in the water. You haven't seen any birds. Nothing's diving. Move on. Walk down that beach. If you can look down the beach and you see birds and it's a quarter mile away, well, walk down to where those birds are and start casting. I bet you start catching fish. So you're seeking life. There's still dead spots, dead zones, even at the beach. So you don't want to fish a dead zone. You're just wasting your time. But great place to catch some fish. Great place to catch some fish.